Alright guys, been washing these eggshells just to get all of the debris off of them. We're starting our little science project here of making our own little fire starter, emergency candles, things like that. So I'm taking a couple of dozen eggshells and I just keep adding a little bit of water to them at a time and just rinsing them just to get anything that's not eggshell on them. I don't know that that's super important, but you know, it does make sense that you'd want you know, there to be no other items in what we're doing. So you can see just every time I rinse them I get just that much more stuff off of them. And so I'm going for, you know, basically as clean of a shell as I can get, and that's really about the result of about 2 dozen eggs that have been cooked in shells. So these are the remnants, and I'm just about ready to parse them out, get them in the vinegar bath here in just a little bit. So I'm just going to continue washing them for another minute. Okay, so I've kind of got those cleaned up eggshells, and I'm just going to parse them out into a couple of different mason jars. I could probably get them all in one, but I want there to be a little bit of room for them to, for our reaction to grow. So I'm making a mess. Usually I'm a little better at this kind of stuff, but yeah. And I washed them as good as I can. I don't think that the actual, if there's a little bit of debris left over from, you know, our breakfast or omelets or whatnot from the eggs, but I'm going to get those in there and go ahead and clean this up. And away we go. Okay, so I'm just using a white distilled vinegar, and I want to make sure you just cover the eggs. And it's the reaction that we're going for, the reaction between the vinegar and the eggshells. So I just need to make sure they're covered. But it's this liquid that we're going to be using to reduce down that will actually make our gel. So anyway, I'm going to kind of cover those up, make sure that they're nice and covered, and you can see already there's a little bit of a bubble. Some of that's just oxygen releasing from the actual pockets of air that are down in there, but then you can see the smaller bubbles already. So that's kind of what we're going for there, is just to have that foam up. Now, eventually as this starts to grow, I'm just going to make sure I get it a little even. As it starts to grow, you're going to get a little foam on the top of these. So that's why I left a little bit of room in there for this to grow. So anyway, it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to let these sit and come back to you later. Okay, so as you can see, we've got that reaction going. That's exactly what we're looking for. This is the heart of our science project right now. It is the reaction of that distilled vinegar with the eggshells. And you know, obviously you can see I could have washed those eggshells a little bit better. There are some foreign objects in there floating around. We do strain that, so it's not a big deal, but obviously just to make sure you get as a pure reaction, try to get as much of that foreign objects out of there. So we're really looking for the reaction between vinegar and the eggshell. And so you can already see inside of there I've got that bubbling going on and a film starting to form on top of that. So who knew, right? Okay, so I'm just going to put these guys to bed. I'm just putting this rubber band over a piece of like linen style cloth, just to cover it up so nothing else gets in it. You see that? And same thing here. Really just looking to put some cover over top of it, just like that. So we can put these guys to bed just for overnight maybe. Really what you're looking for is you want to see the bubbling that's going on, and obviously it's slowed down, but you can still see that there is still definitely bubbling going on in here, and that's the reaction that you're looking for. That's the solution. The result of this is what we're looking for there. So it's really overnight's probably going to get the job done. So once we stop seeing bubbles and all that. Okay guys, our science experiment, we're continuing on. We've had that eggshell vinegar mixture going for a little over 24 hours now. So now it's time for us to strain it, and I'm just taking a coffee filter for one of our commercial brewers, and I'm going to just create a little well there for it. I'm going to take that on so I can literally just let this thing sit and get every ounce of that we made, because we don't want to not get everything that we got, right? So we're going to just take a second and tape this up. And there we go. All the way around. I don't think I need to necessarily go all the way around, but I think I just would hate to have this not hold it. So I got myself a nice little well there, and I'm going to go ahead and take the little lid off of this, and boy, that's looking really nice down in there. So one of the reasons why I wanted to use a coffee filter is so I could just filter out every little bit of impurity that was in that mixture with those eggs. And you can see it's taking a little time, which it should. It's filtering super fine down in there, and I may have to actually put another filter in there for the second batch. And we're going to just let it do its thing. Now it should note that these eggshells, the longer they're in here, so they're still a little brittle, but you can see they actually have started to turn to a little bit like rubber, and that's what happens. That vinegar actually will eat at those until they really are down to just nothing. So anyway, if you've never tried that experiment of just putting a whole egg in vinegar, you should try it. It's kind of a fun thing. So we're going to go ahead and start our second batch here. Again, I'm just looking to get as much of the big stuff out of there as possible. And that is slowly filling that up down there at the bottom. Yeah, the coffee filter is definitely a good call for this. You know, it is going to get down to a very small particulate. So we're going to get all of this crud kind of that's floated to the top here. And that's all going to disappear once we get this all filtered out. And, you know, people ask, oh, okay, well, what does it smell like? Well, at this point, really, you know, the smell of this is really no different than just vinegar. There's no different smell. So whatever reaction has happened between the calcium in the shells and the vinegar, nothing else has really happened. Just still smells just like your white distilled vinegar. So anyway, we're going to let that filter out. Shouldn't be too much longer. So I'll come back to you as soon as I got it all filtered. Okay, so as you can see, I'm down to the very nitty-gritty. The second filter was definitely a must, just because all the little fine particulates clogged up that first one. So I, basically had to add a second one on the fly. So next time I would just double or triple up on your filters, and then just keep taking them out as you go. And that way you can go onto the filter that doesn't have the little pores and stuff all clogged up. So I've been just waiting for this last little bit of essence to strain out of that, and you can see that that filter is just chock full with egg particles and small little teeny particulates that have caused that to slow down. So I'm just about ready to harvest this, and we'll be right back to you. Okay, so I have everything out of there I want. I'm going to go ahead and pour this into a pot, a stock pot that we're going to use to reduce this down. We need this to basically cut itself in half in terms of size, so it's going to take a little while boiling, probably, well, I'm going to guess 30 minutes or more. So I'm using my induction burner so I can stay out here in my workshop instead of sitting there boiling vinegar water in the house. Not necessarily the best thing to do. So thankfully this guy has just a A couple of nice settings here. I can just hit, let's see, boil. Pretty sure. Hang on a second. There we go. So I'm going to set the timer. It's saying 10 minutes. Let's say, oh, nope. There we go. Boil, there we go. So that should do it. I'll come back here and check on it, see how we're doing. It'll boil it for 10 minutes. So the nice thing about the induction burner is I can literally set it and forget it. So this guy, this Duck's Top dual one, it's actually a dual burner. I use it for catering and stuff all the time, but great for something like this where you want to cook out in your garage even. So I'm here in my workshop, just going to have this take place out here. So anyway, as we get that boiling, I'll turn this back on so you can see the progress. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to heat up, but before it boils, I wanted to kind of get a measurement to know exactly where I'm at for, you know, I want this to reduce down and concentrate. So I'm just going to sit that in there, and then I'll go ahead and put a mark on here on my little dowel so I know where I'm at. And when I go to check on this after we've had it boil for a little bit, I'll be able to see how much it is. So I really want that to reduce down to about half of that, and that way I know what's left in there is going to be a super nice concentrate. And you can see with that induction burner, it definitely gets going in a hurry. You know, the old adage of a watch pot never boils. Absolutely not true. They did not have induction burners when they stated that, because this has only been going for about 3 to 4 minutes, and it is already smoking. So I'll get back to you as soon as we get a little rolling boil here going. Okay guys, so we've got that rolling type boil going here. I've got it on a 29-minute timer here. I'm going to come back and check it out. Another nice thing about these induction burners, programmable like that, I can not be back here in 29 minutes and still know that that's going to shut off and not overboil this thing. I'll probably check on it before then anyway, but we're going to just let this thing do its thing. Let the induction burner and the boil do its thing and reduce a lot of that water. And you can see that already escaping. That part right there is definitely just distilled water. If you wanted to capture that and reharness it as purified water, you could set up and capture that. And obviously in a survival type situation, maybe you'd want to do that. But anyway, that's it. And then also, just as you know, it was definitely a good call to do this out here in the garage. You know, with that steam coming off of that, it definitely has. I've got this vinegar type smell going through my garage, and this would take a little while to get out of the house. So anyway, good call doing it out here in the garage. I'll be back to you as soon as we've reached that reduction that we're looking for. Okay, so let's check, see where we're at. Oh yeah, so we've definitely reduced that down. This has a really nice kind of milky color to it, which tells us we're consolidating and concentrating all of that calcium in that vinegar. So we're left with a fairly good concentrate there. So I'm just going to go ahead and kill the power to this thing and let it cool down. Give that a little stir and stir that up. You can see up here on the sides that calcium that's kind of evaporated along the edges there. So don't tell my wife I've got one of her good pots out here in the garage doing a science experiment. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for, is that concentrated down liquid, milky kind of color to it. So we're going to just let that cool down for a little bit. Okay, so letting it cool down a little bit, I'm whisking that a little bit. You can see the air working itself into there. That's, you know, it's just on its way to a little gelatinous kind of state. As it cools down and gets more towards room temperature, I'm just mixing it. You can see, we'll see what that does here. Just going to let it continue to cool and mix it as it goes. Okay, so now that I've got some gloves, I can kind of work that in and pull those cotton fibers, make sure it's coated in there. I could actually probably went a little heavy on that. And so, yeah, I'm just going to try to pull that through. I could probably put some more cotton in it. now that I see it, I probably added that second bit when I didn't need to. So I'm going to get some more cotton, get this the way I want it. You don't want it, you don't need it to be like that, goopy like this. So I'm going to go get some more cotton. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I did add some more cotton to that to work in there. And as I was grabbing some more cotton, I remembered I had these dog ear cleaners, and I thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and soak a couple of these in this, and I'm just gonna kind of spin them around in that and let them soak for a minute, and then I'll come back and work those. But I think those might be a fun little, just a campsite candle or a little mini torch. So I'm just gonna work this stuff into this, cotton, and I'm gonna go two hands here so I can kind of pull as I go, trying to get the fibers all coated with this, and almost work it in like a little bit of a putty, you know, work it in there like that and get some fibers going, everything coated nice and good in there. And then once we're done with this part of it, we'll decide how we want to use it. You know, whether we want to pack it in a little tin or pack it in something, or just set it out on the ground and try to light it like you would any other fire starting material with my little ferro rod striker. See how good it takes the flame, and go from there. But I'm really just trying to work that stuff into that, make sure every fiber is coated. There we go. And I like the fact that I can get some nice fine fibers, because I have a feeling that's what it's going to take to get that. So, and it's crazy how much this stuff smells like sterno, you know. So it definitely goes from being eggshells and vinegar to a pretty good, you know, fiery kind of smell. So I think we're getting there where we want to be with this stuff. I think it's getting right to where we want it to be coated. So let's go do a fire test real quick. Alright guys, so I'm going to try a batch 2 with some dryer lint. And so I'm going to mix our mixture in with this dryer lint, and we'll see how that goes. I think that might be enough. Try that out. Kind of work it through all of that. The key is, I think, to just make sure you coat all of the fibers so you get some of that flammable substance all over everything. But at the same time, you have to keep it fluffy enough so that it wants to light. Because as one big mass, it's not going to want to light, but you know, with it being pulled apart and being able to still be shredded a little bit, I think is kind of the key. I need to get a little bit more on that. Scrape some in there, just like that. And you see, we could actually make quite a bit of this stuff. And you know, I don't know how much fire starter stuff you carry, but you know, typically, if you're going to be out for 5 or 6 days, a week or 2 weeks, you know, having stuff to make a fire every day. Now, of course, once you make one, you want to tend it and do everything you can to keep it going, so you don't have to worry about starting a second fire. But having enough fire starter for each one of the days that you're out there, definitely a good idea. So anyway, I think I'm getting that pretty good. Definitely working it in all the, you know, the different fibers. Dryer lint, of course, as you know, is already pretty flammable, so that's not necessarily the issue. What you want to do is make sure you've got something that will stay lit. You can get a lot of things to ignite, but you want it to stay lit long enough to put some, you know, small kindling over top of it, some small branches and stuff, and burn even when it's wet. And that's kind of the key here, because you could obviously just take some dryer lint in a pouch, some toilet paper or whatever, and use that to help start. But that's not bad. But to have something that ignites with an accelerant on it, like what we've made. And basically that's what we've done, is we've made a little bit of an accelerant, a sterno-like accelerant. And once we get that worked in here, so that'll act as an accelerant, and then the lint acts as the, kind of the wick, if you will, to hold that flame on there and in place long enough to get something of substance to burn. So you can do that. Now, it also should be noted that sterno, you really shouldn't eat food you're cooking over sterno. It has methanol in it, and so you can get sick off of that. This, on the other hand, does not. So you could technically, if you lit this, it's going to get hot enough to cook something, and it'll burn for a while. You could actually cook off of that if you wanted to. So anyway, this will probably do good. I like the individual fibers we're getting out of that. So we're going to end up taking it out here tonight and see if we can't get a fire going outside. I'm going to probably try to dry this out just a little bit, so I think I'll spread it out just so that it is a little drier. Not that that matters. I mean, obviously sterno, if you've ever used sterno in a catering situation, sterno is very gel-like. You can spread it on something actually and it'll burn, but so it's, I guess drying it out isn't necessarily important. It just depends on how you want to transport it. And I've got some little medicine bottles I think I'll put this stuff in that will help keep it dry, keep it out of the elements, and then fresh for a fire if we need to use one that way. So anyway, we're about ready for a fire test. You guys excited? I am. Alright guys, I'm out here actually in my front yard, so I don't know what my homeowners association, actually I don't have a homeowners association, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm taking some of this Firestarter. I put it in a little vitamin jar that I have, and I'm actually doing this under headlamp because I wanted you to see kind of the full effect if you're out here, trying to get a fire started at night. Maybe you got a late start and you just, decided, hey, I need to put up shelter and get a fire going. And so you're going to break out some of that fire material, and it kind of blends in there. And I'm going to take my ferro rod. I got some kindling here nearby. I'm going to just take my ferro rod, see if I can't get that fire lit on this guy here. I'll just put that there. There you go. Did it on the second strike. Let that spread over here to this other side. Oh, well, I just had a moth go right in it. That's as realistic as it gets, is it not? Freaking having moth to the flame right here in camera. Better the fire than in my better in the fire than in my headlamp, right? I'd rather have that. So really all we're trying to do with Firestarter is to have it go just long enough to get some of your kindling going. And as you can see, I definitely have some of my kindling going there, and should get a nice little crackling fire here before too long. So I think we can effectively say, I'm going to kill that headlamp just so you can get that cool fire going. But I think you can effectively say that here we are out in the deal. I did one strike with my, 2 strikes with my ferro rod, and I got myself a nice little campfire going that I could build on from here. So definitely gonna rate this as a fun experiment. You guys know that you can make your own fire starter now. It just takes a little bit of eggshell, a little bit of vinegar, about 24 hours and some heat. So you're going to need to take just a little bit of a heat to that. And so anyway, we got ourselves a nice little fire going, don't we, guys? So I think a really cool thing. I'm gonna rate this experiment as just a fun thing to do and a fun thing to know that you can do. So give yourself some fun. I mean, give yourself an opportunity to do something fun teach yourself a skill. You know, you may never need to make your own. I'm going to turn my headlamp back on. You may never need to know how or where to make your own fire starter from. But gosh, you know, it's just fun to do something. This is a perfect example of that. It's super satisfying to, you know, sit and be warmed by a fire that you made. And, you know, that's a cool thing. So if you haven't done something like this, guys, I highly recommend you get out there and give it a shot. That's a really nice little fire going for us, guys. So anyway, if you haven't got a chance, go ahead and follow the, follow us at Jeff Gavage on this YouTube channel. You're going to love the content that I have. I'm doing all kinds of fun stuff like this. So make sure you subscribe and follow, and then please share the videos with people that enjoy the same enthusiasm for the outdoors that you and I have. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it.